Some people build things with their hands. They shape wood and stone into something that lasts. My friend Ted Dixon was one of those people. He was a master carpenter, a true artist with a hammer and saw. For him, every piece of wood held a story waiting to be told. He could look at a pile of lumber and see a beautiful cabinet, a sturdy table, or the frame of a home where a family would grow. His hands were calloused and strong, a testament to a life spent creating. They were the hands of a man who understood that hard work was its own reward. He didn't just build structures. He built a legacy of craftsmanship that will stand long after we are all gone. Ted came from a family of doers, people who knew the value of a hard day's work. They were simple folks, grounded in the earth and the satisfaction of making something from nothing. He learned his trade from his father, who taught him not just how to measure twice and cut once, but how to respect the materials he worked with. Ted carried that lesson with him throughout his life. He wasn't a man who sought fame or fortune. He just wanted to do good work and provide for his family. He found joy in the smell of fresh-cut pine and the hum of his tools. His life was a quiet symphony of creation, a tribute to the simple beauty of a well-made thing. I often think about those hands now. They were hands that could fix anything, that could bring order from chaos. They were hands that held his tools with a familiar, loving grip. But they were also the hands that held his son, Jobe, when he was just a boy. They were the hands that clapped me on the back after a long day of working together, a silent acknowledgement of our shared effort. In a world that often feels disposable and fast-paced, Ted's work was a reminder of something more permanent. He believed in quality, in things that were built to endure. His life was a lesson in taking your time and doing things right. Now those hands are at rest. The tools have been put away. The workshop is silent, but the things he built remain. They are scattered throughout our community, in the homes he helped construct, the furniture he lovingly crafted. Each piece is a quiet monument to the man who made it. When I see them, I don't just see wood and nails. I see Ted. I see his dedication, his quiet strength, and the love he poured into his work. His legacy isn't written in books or carved in stone. It is built into the very fabric of the places we call home, a lasting tribute to a master carpenter and a dear friend. Our friendship was built on a foundation as solid as any house Ted ever framed. We met years ago, two young men with more energy than sense, working side by side on construction sites. The days were long, and the work was hard. We'd sweat under the summer sun and shiver through the winter cold, but through it all, we had each other. We learned to anticipate each other's moves, a silent language spoken with a nod or a gesture. I'd pass him a tool before he even had to ask. He'd steady a ladder for me without a word. We were a team, bound by shared labor and mutual respect. Those long days on the job site bled into long evenings of conversation. We talked about everything and nothing. We shared our dreams for the future and our worries about the present. We talked about our families, our hopes, our fears. Friendship, I've learned, is often built in these quiet, ordinary moments. It's not about grand gestures. It's about the steady presence of someone who knows you, who sees you, and who stands with you through the changing seasons of life. Ted was that person for me. He was more than a co-worker. He was a brother, a constant in a world that was always changing. I remember one summer we were building a deck for a family. The project was complicated, with tricky angles and custom railings. We worked from sunrise to sunset, our muscles aching and our patience tested. But we never lost our good humor. Ted would crack a joke at just the right moment, breaking the tension and reminding us why we loved what we did. We weren't just building a deck. We were creating a space where a family would make memories. We were a part of their story. That shared purpose connected us on a level that went deeper than just a paycheck. Now, when I look back on those years, I realize how precious they were. Life gets busy, paths diverge, but the foundation we built remained unshaken. A true friendship is like a well-built house. It can withstand the storms. It provides shelter and comfort. It's a place you can always return to, no matter how far you've wandered. My friendship with Ted was my shelter. It was a constant source of strength and support. And though he is gone, the structure of that friendship remains a permanent part of who I am. Life, as it often does, began to throw its storms at Ted. It started with sickness, a slow and cruel thief that began to rob him of his strength. The man who could once lift heavy beams now struggled to get through the day. Work became impossible. With no income, the financial troubles mounted like a gathering thundercloud. He was a proud man, and it broke his heart to lose the home he had worked his entire life to own. He had built it with his own 2 hands, and watching it slip away was a pain I cannot fully describe. He lost more than a house. He lost a piece of himself. He and his son, Jobe, ended up in a small, cramped trailer. It was a far cry from the life he had known. Jobe was fighting his own battles, wrestling with the shadows of mental health issues that made their situation even more difficult. Ted, ever the father, tried to be strong for his son, even as his own world was crumbling. He tried to fix things, just as he had always fixed things with his hands. But some problems can't be solved with a hammer and nails. The weight of it all was immense. His illness, his financial ruin, and his son's struggles. It was a perfect storm of hardship. Then came the diagnosis we all feared, cancer. It had spread. The word hung in the air between us, heavy and final. The doctors gave him a timeline, a countdown on a life that had always seemed so boundless. I watched my friend, the strongest man I knew, begin to fade. The disease was relentless, chipping away at his body day by day. His trailer, once just a temporary shelter, became his sickbed. It became the place where his world shrank to the size of a single room, a place filled with medicine bottles and the quiet hum of an oxygen machine. I knew I couldn't let him face this storm alone. Friendship isn't just for the sunny days, it's for the hurricanes. I started going over every day. The trailer was in disarray, a reflection of the chaos in their lives. I began to clean. I scrubbed the floors, washed the dishes, and did the laundry. I wanted to bring some small measure of order and dignity back into his life. It wasn't about fixing his problems. I couldn't cure his cancer or restore his finances. It was about showing him that he was not forgotten. It was about making his final space a place of comfort, not despair. The last days were a journey into the heart of what it means to be human. Hospice care began, a kind but clinical process that signaled the end was near. I sat by his bedside for hours, a silent witness to his struggle. Pain was his constant companion. I would hold his hand, a small gesture against a sea of suffering. Sometimes we wouldn't speak at all. The silence was filled with a lifetime of memories, a shared history that needed no words. I was there to make sure he was comfortable, to give him his medicine, and to just be present. In the end, that is the greatest gift we can give someone. Our time. I felt a profound sense of helplessness. I, who had worked alongside him to build and repair, could do nothing to fix this. All I could offer was my presence, my compassion, and my unwavering friendship. I watched the man who taught me so much about strength become fragile, dependent on others for his most basic needs. It was a humbling and heartbreaking experience. Yet in that sterile, quiet room, there was also a powerful love. It was the love of a friend refusing to let another face the darkness alone. It was a promise kept, a final act of loyalty. In one of his last lucid moments, a small miracle occurred. We managed to get his son, Jobe, on the phone. Ted's eyes, cloudy with pain, flickered with recognition as he heard his boy's voice. "I love you, Dad," Jobe said through the speaker. A single tear traced a path down Ted's weathered cheek. He couldn't speak, but he squeezed my hand. In that simple, profound exchange, a lifetime of love was affirmed. A father heard from his son one last time. It was a moment of grace, a small light that shone brightly in the encroaching shadows. It was a peaceful closure to a life of love and struggle. Ted Dixon passed away peacefully a short time later. His fight is over. His hands are finally at rest. Now we are left with the task of honoring his memory. Due to his financial hardships, there are no funds for a proper farewell. We are asking our community for help to cover the costs of his cremation, so we can give this master carpenter the dignified goodbye he deserves. Please hold your loved ones close tonight. Tell them what they mean to you. Life is a fragile, precious gift. We will miss you, my friend. Thank you for the lessons, the laughter, and the friendship. Your story is now a part of ours.